I hope I'm not insulting any of my friends that are on comp committees.
You're insulting the dogs.
No.
Well, we are completely out of step with modern practices with directors. The modern practice is to have one from each diversity category and to have a whole lot of people who need more or less the $100,000 or $200,000 per year that they're paid for being a director. And people think this makes the system better. At Berkshire, all the directors are rich, and they own a lot of stock in Berkshire, and they're all very smart, and they don't get any liability insurance provided by Berkshire. So we've been waiting for our system to spread, but we seem to be losing.
Yeah, it's a tough job at times to be a director. The real problem that you can face and may often face is when you're dealing with mediocrity. I mean, if you have a baseball team and you have a 240 hitter in the majors, 240 hitter in the majors is still a pretty good baseball player. But if your job is to have a winning team, you get rid of them. And you find somebody that can bat 280 or 290 and field just as well. In business, the tough part is to get rid of something a notch or two above mediocrity, but not the best one that could be found. And when people meet every couple of months, they come from different parts of the country, and they have the normal social instincts. They don't like to have rump meetings or to sort of talk behind people's backs. It's very difficult for a group, and particularly if it's a group like Charlie described, where a significant number of them, the director's fees they earn are important to their well-being, and they'd love to be recommended for another board and add another $100,000 a year to their income. It's very difficult for somebody to lead a charge and all of a sudden start at the meeting or trying to arrange a rump meeting of some sort to say, we really think this guy at the head of the table is no good. And dealing with mediocrity or like I say, a notch above it, is a difficult problem if you're a board member. And we believe that independence is it's a state of mind. I mean, and it's the willingness, but not the eagerness, to challenge the ideas of others, and if you see a merger that doesn't make sense, and Charlie and I have seen a lot of them, and we've been on the boards, and sometimes we've spoken up, and sometimes we haven't spoken up. If you feel that the group around you in terms of social behavior can only tolerate a certain amount of obnoxiousness on the part of yourself, you have to sort of ration it out, and so you save yourself for big ones, and then it's not necessarily an easy equation. And certainly I would say of the things I've seen proposed in the way of major acquisitions, and a significant percentage of them I wouldn't do myself. But would I overrule somebody else? I wouldn't get the votes probably anyway, and it's a very difficult thing to do. You occasionally fire a bullet if you think it's important enough, and usually it doesn't do any good. We have a group that every one of them has significant money invested in Berkshire. Every one of them has significant money invested in Berkshire. They all bought it in the market just like you did. I mean, I've been on all these boards, and they keep handing me things, and I had shares of this one and that one are given to me, or options or whatever, matching charitable contributions, all kinds of things. But we have real owners on our board, and what they make for being board members is really inconsequential, as I get reminded occasionally, compared to their investment. And they're friends of mine. They're smart. They're very smart. I mean, they are handpicked in terms of business brain power and quality of human being. And I really think that, we have the best board in the country, but the people that want to make their evaluations by checklists, whether either in terms of diversity or in terms of supposed independence, although I don't know how anybody that's getting half their income from board memberships can be independent. We may not stack up so well, but it's the kind of board that I want to have, knowing that if I die tonight, that virtually everything I have goes to a foundation. I want to have that foundation have as much money over the years to spend as possible.
I think what has happened at Berkshire is just wonderfully for the good. And I do think we have a perfectly marvelous board. What makes me sad, as I said earlier, is I don't see more of the same practice followed elsewhere. A director getting $150,000 a year from a company who needs it is not an independent director. That director automatically becomes an inside director. And so it's a typical government intervention. It says it's doing one thing and it does another.
Yeah, I've been on 19 boards. I've never seen a director where the director's fees were important to them object to an acquisition proposal, object to a compensation arrangement of the CEO. It's just never happened, and in my experience, and they frequently do not behave as they would if they owned the place, and basically we want people that behave as if they own the place.
The correct system is the Elihu Root system. Elihu Root, who had 3 different cabinet appointments, if I remember right, said no man was fit to hold public office who wasn't perfectly willing to leave it at any time. And if Elihu Root didn't approve of something the government asked him to do, he could always go back and be the most sought-after lawyer in the world. He had an identity to go back to, and he didn't need the government's salary. And I think that ought to be more the test in corporate directorships. Is a man really fit to make tough calls who isn't perfectly willing to leave the office at any time? My answer is no.
Yeah, we have one of our directors who's been removed twice from compensation committees of other corporations because he had the temerity to actually question whether the compensation arrangement being suggested was the appropriate one. I mean, it's being put on the comp committee of American corporations. As I've said, they're looking for Chihuahuas and not Great Danes or Dobermans, yeah. And I hope I'm not insulting any of my friends that are on comp committees.
You're insulting the dogs.
No.